Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Emmanuel Jr., the Chief Crusader Against Corruption in Ghana. We run a civil society organization known as Crusaders Against Corruption Ghana. On behalf of the board members, led by the chairperson, Dr. Susan Inti, I want to welcome each and every one of you here. We started Crusaders Against Corruption Ghana in the year 2019. If we were not the very first, we are among the very first organization to bring to the public domain what was happening in the energy sector, which ended up becoming the PDS scandal. And right from there, we've been championing policies for which some of the decision makers have taken notice of. We've been engaging Parliament on some few policies, and they have also taken notice of some of the proposals that we have made. Today, we've gathered here to do something which is very important. And just like the name goes, we are going to look at the scarface of corruption in Ghana and see how corruption affects you and I, how corruption affects us. You know, we are doing this because we are nearing an election year. I mean, not year, but month. 7th of December, 2024, all of us are going to vote. In other words, we are going to make a major decision. Governance is a serious business. Whatever decision we make on the 7th of December, it's not just going to affect our life for the next 4 years. It is actually going to affect the rest of our lives. Because if we make the wrong decision, and for instance, the government goes into so much debt as we have now, it means that not just us, but even our next generation, children yet unborn, will come and face the consequences. I hope you understand what I'm saying. And so, making the decision is not just about going to the ballots, the polling station to vote 10, 15 minutes and you are gone. No. What you are going to do is that you are going to take a decision that affects your life, that affects my life, that affects the life of each and every one of us, even our future. And that's why Crusaders Against Corruption, between now and 7th December, we've decided that we are going to let our anti-corruption train move. And it is starting from here. Right from here, the next destination is going to be Eastern Region, where we are going to engage the public. From Eastern Region, we'll move to Ashanti Region. From Ashanti Region, we'll move to the Northern Region. And when we are done with Northern Region and we still have some days or time before the 7th December, we'll do the other regions. And the reason why we are doing this is simply because 7th December, among the top 2 issues that you should consider before taking any decision should include corruption. Corruption is a serious thing that it affects all of us. Look at the video that we saw. And if time permits, we'll be watching other videos for you to see practically how corruption is affecting you and I. What we are going to do today is to listen to our resource persons. After listening to them, we may do 1 or 2 other videos, and then we'll have a panel conversation with them where all of us will have the opportunity to engage them. If you have any contribution, comments to make, the opportunity will be given to you for you to do same. And then after, we'll call it a day. I hope it's a good thing. Are we ready for that? So without wasting much time, we are going to invite our first speaker. Our first speaker, in fact, all the speakers we have, I won't waste time talking much about them because I believe all of us know them. Our first speaker is Dr. Amwakumba. We all know Dr. Amwakumba. He's going to talk to us on the topic, impact of corruption on national spending. The impact of corruption on national spending. And I believe strongly that all of us, we will follow through very well. And as I indicated, when it is time for us to engage, if you have any comments or follow-up questions to make, you have the opportunity to do so. So ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Dr. Amwakumba.
Good afternoon. I'm I'm happy to be in the Republic of Accra. I came from the Republic of Ghana as the interior. So those of you who live here, don't think this is the country. The other side. Most of the people are there. But 80% of the revenue of this country is spent here. Why? It's spent here in terms of develop everything. Right? So if I didn't come today, you hear from all people from Accra. Is that the country? What about the others? That is where the wealth is made. Yet, they don't have a say. They don't know what is going on. Everything is in Accra. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, no. But we have to try to change that idea of maintaining everything in Accra, Africa Games, Accra. Maybe that's why the corruption goes on so much. I don't want to live in Accra because I see everybody in Accra, when you get up, go and look for money. You're not going to work, you're going to look for money. That's it. So we have a lot of middlemen in Accra. Government contracts, put it here, put it here, put it. No, he's not doing anything. He's just leading the way. This is how Accra has become. Very different from the rest of the country. We have to work to change that too. I'm not saying we're going to develop other places in addition to Accra. We have enough problem just focusing on Accra. But we have to think about this a bit. If I tell you 80% of the revenue of the country is spent right here, and you take into consideration that government offices, the seat of government, everything is here, that's how it is. Is that how it should be? It's not right at all. There are people who are working hard to create the wealth who don't get anything. They don't. So Accra, because the seat of government is here, you don't want traffic jam. We have monkey and train jams. Cow jams, Mayanka, Accra. Now, the cows are crossing the street. You can't do anything. You have to stand there for 3-4 minutes before they cross. That's the meat they bring here to Accra for you to eat. See, they cause trouble for us, then you eat the meat. That's the problem. Well, anyway, just as a way of introduction, I have to tell you a bit about myself. I have to apologize again. I don't like to be late at all. But it's not my fault. It's Passion Air. They were late. I wasn't. Right? Well, anyway. Many of you know me. About 2 months ago, I was working properly. I was walking properly. People think I got stroke or something. This is why I didn't bring my cane. When they see the cane, oh, he got stroke now. He's gone for sure now. So I said, I'm not going for sure. So I'm not going to use the cane. I'm getting better. The next time you see me, I'll be running. I have no doubt about that. Please, forgive me if I talk quite a bit about God. Because there's nothing you can do in life that you can do without God. He created everything. And he put himself in everything he created. That's what we don't realize. And we have allowed a rascal, the one who became purpose, and God threw him out of heaven. We allowed him to lie to us for too long in everything. And we follow him. Because he will do things for us God will not let us do. God is discipline. This one, he said, don't worry. How many women do you want to befriend? 2, I'll give 5. How much money do you need? I'll give you an endless amount of money if you do so and so and so. I'm standing here today and I'll tell you this. Because of God. Because my own brother took me to occultists. An initiation, you bring a person to be killed. For your initiation, he took me. He took me. They went through the whole process. He's going to die. Here I am. I'm still not dead. God said no. They will not agree. The devil can't do anything without God allowing him to do it. If God says no, it is no. No matter what anybody does. Don't let anyone fool you. I'm standing here today because God said no. In the past 4 months, I've had 6 attempts to kill me. I'm not talking about somebody wailing you and attacking you. No, this is juju. This is juju. They've been to Benin. You name it. Where have if you go to Benin and you are not able to kill me, that's bad though. Because that one is powerhouse. You understand? And so they don't know what to do. They say, I'm walking around at the airport. What's going on? They are pointing at me. Say, what is it? I want to these people. I say, well, what do you want? Then I go to them and say the same thing. They're saying, this guy, shouldn't he be dead? All the things we've done to him, why is he still alive? They're arguing among themselves. I said, go ahead. You'll be arguing with God. I'm still alive. If he says go, then I go. But if he hasn't said go, nobody can make me go. Please remember, God is the creator. He is not an equal of the devil. He isn't. So many people think he is. He created the devil. He created him that way. Right? You think the devil wants to be the way he is? No. He has been a true leader before in heaven. He was the prime minister of heaven, in charge of angels and archangels. Why would he come here and fool with us? God threw him out. Please. He's not the equal of God. I'll tell you a story. My father-in-law, living in Texas, was bleeding. Every time he used the bathroom, a lot of blood came out. I said, no, if he continues like that, he will die for sure. We have to pray. We have to do something. Who can do this surgery to stop the bleeding? I don't know. So, okay, we have to pray. Prayed. One day, I bought a soap, 6 CD soup. I bought 2, and I prayed over it, and I sent it to him in Laredo, Texas. I said, I prayed over this soup. Use it. I'm sure you'll be okay. Okay. You'll get it in 2 weeks. I went to DHL. How much to send this to? Okay. 15 minutes more. Okay. Okay, sure. It's important to me, sorry. How much do you charge? 440 to send 60 dish soup. Okay, send it. The customs said they won't give it to him. I said, why not? No, some ingredients in there, we don't know what it is, so we won't give it to him. I said, okay. So I'm taking a shower at K-University Guest House. I pray to God, Lord, I know distance is no barrier for you. So as I wash myself, I'm washing Roger too. I wash my armpit, I'm washing his armpit, every part. When I said that, a hand came from nowhere. This is a small shower stall, and knocked me completely out of the shower. I hit the wall, boom. What? I didn't see anyone. My wife was in the living room. He came running to me. What has happened? I said, leave me alone for a little bit. So I lay there, and finally, I said, aha, is you devil? You think you are mighty. You tell people you are mighty God. You are not mighty. You see, I dribbled you this time. I have become messy. Dribbled you, didn't see that coming. Yes, I'm finished. Yes. Well, in the end, my father-in-law was healed. I'm telling you this. I know many of you, you think that we are not doing well because I'm saying that. No, all of that's going on. Guess who is the chief architect? It's the devil. If you never tackle that one, you ain't going anywhere. You can fix all the technical problems, you'll still be in trouble. That's what's going on. I know some of you don't believe that. but I have seen it with my own eyes. I'm going to talk to you about deficit spending. The corruption in the government resulted in deficit spending. You know how long we have spent deficit, money we don't have, above our budget? 40 years since 1980. Every year we spend more money than we have. It's not our money. One day, former President Mahama said, we have chewed the meat to the bone. Today, I tell you, you have chewed the bone. That's what it is. It's not your money you are spending. You are spending somebody's money every year for 40 years. What do you expect to happen? You will develop? How? I don't understand it. It's like we have become insane. We do the same thing, and nobody's looking at it critically and saying, hey, hold on just a minute. There's something wrong with this. Nobody says anything. You keep going like that. You see, I'm sorry, I have to talk about this topic. I don't have enough time, but there are certain things you have to understand for you to make sense out of what I'm saying. A country should have so-called experts who can solve problems. Not go and read what the white man did and come and do it here. It won't work. We are not white men. We don't have the same mentality. Our people are poor. And yet we behave like we are the same as they are. We are not. I've lived in America for 30 years. They don't do things the way we do here. So we cannot be the same. Right? You go to school. I taught at KNUC for 10 years. All of them want to memorize everything. Somebody raised and said, this thing you are talking about is going to be on the test. So get up and go away. Just go. Go outside. There's a man there who's giving you a test. Go and get it. I'm not here because of test. You are supposed to learn and have sense. They don't like that. Just give us the apport. Yeah. And we pass. That's it. What do you know if we just give you the apport and you pass? You can't solve any problem. That's the problem. The toughest course in KNUC was research methods. Many of the professors don't know how to teach it. They don't understand it themselves. Most likely they didn't understand it when they went to school, so they can't teach it. And they wanted me to teach it. I've taught it before. I didn't want to teach it. It became a crisis. Finally, I said, okay, I'll teach it. Please, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I go a little bit over my time. Because I have to say this, and that's what I'm saying doesn't make any sense. You want to hear about deficit. What is it? We spend more than we have. That's easy enough. But why is it going on for so long? We still can't stop it. Today, if a student goes to university and does research method, he has a contractor who will write his paper for him. He himself can't write because he doesn't understand it. When I agreed to teach the course, it was a graduate course. Somebody asked me, what is the meaning of certain terms about that course? They don't understand it. Dependent variable and independent variable. What is it? He said they don't understand. I said, I know why you don't understand. Because you are using English to explain English. You are using words to describe words. That's what it is. That's why it's so difficult, but it's very easy. What is dependent variable and independent variable? So I took a leaf, a dry leaf. I mashed it and I said, in tree, we have a saying, Bibi anko ka papa, and yet tre. Huh? Bibi anko ka papa, and yet tre. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So what's that got to do with dependent and independent variable? I say, okay. The thing that touched the leaf to make the noise, that's the master. He touched it. That's independent. The leaf that makes the noise because it's been touched, that's dependent. Makes the noise depending on what the other thing does to it. Huh? Is that it? Yeah, that's it. You see, we can't write that in a textbook for you to read. It is not difficult, but we just memorize it and memorize everything inside. We don't know how to draw a budget. I'm sorry. I have to be honest. I get very angry when certain people bring people and tell us as if he's the budget guru. And yet, well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think my time is up. What can you say in 20 minutes about deficit spending? I haven't even started. Honestly, I haven't started. But if time is up, what can I do? What can I say? It's time. I'm sorry.
All right. Thank you so much. Can we clap for him once more? Well, as a lecturer, he did his presentation through storytelling, and I believe we've all learned a lot from it. Our next speaker is again someone we all know, and I'm making reference to Dr. Nyahu Tamaklu.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Doc, please use this one.
Normally, when I'm going to speak, I don't like to be put in a straight jacket because the situation in which we are in this country now is very disturbing. I think I will give you a little background about why some of us, I in particular, joined what we call the UP tradition. The leadership then, what we have gone through in this Fourth Republic, and what we are in now. I joined the UP tradition when I was convinced that the leadership then had integrity. I can mention just few. B.J. Darocha, first chairman of the New Patriotic Party. R.R. Ramponsa, K.G. Osebonso, Odoe Sykes, Peter Ala Ajete, J.H. Mensah. And I would say, I was fortunate to meet one of the members of the Big Six in Oshafort when I was then in detention. Now, these people I mentioned are men of integrity. We don't have them now in the party. I'm saying that with confidence. The party is now a party of money making. Young men who are just looking for money and property. They have no interest for the country, nor the citizenry of the country. And that is very disturbing and very dangerous. We've seen it before. I keep on saying it. The path we are on now, if we are not careful, can lead this country into another destruction. When Akufo-Addo wanted to lead the party, I was one of his strongest supporters. I did so because then I was convinced that the man I have known from infancy, a man I thought was selfless, a man I thought had integrity, a man I thought respects the rule of law. I felt I should give my support to him, and I did. I remember vividly when I was an ambassador in Serbia, he came on a visit to Sofia. Indeed, Bulgaria is within my jurisdiction then. And we had a chat. And I mentioned it to him that I feel he must get himself ready for the leadership role. To my surprise, he told me, in fact, to be very precise, he used the word Kofi Diowo has brought another person. And Kofi Diowo is former President J.H. Kufuor. And I was surprised. So I asked him, who is that person? Who was that person? And he mentioned Alan Chiramantin. And I said, I remember Alan very well. He's a nice guy. But I don't think he's up to the task yet. I remember I told him that. Because by then they have these young executives who were then supporting the party when we were trying to put the party together. Now, he came down to Accra, and to cross-check what he told me, I took a phone and called one of the elders of the party. It was confirmed to me. I felt injustice is being done as far as Akufo-Addo is concerned. So I flew down to Accra. I remember I came down in an Alitalia aircraft. We landed somewhere around 8 p.m. The following day, by then, in fact, we were then having a congress at the Great Hall of the University of Ghana. The following day, I called the National Security Minister, Mr. Francis Poku, one of the best ministers we've had, as far as I'm concerned, in the NPP. Himself, and late Kojo Redu. He rest in peace. Francis was very happy to hear I was in town. So we agreed to meet on Sunday after church. We met. And those of you who could remember what happened during that particular period, when we're having the Congress at the Great Hall, the Congress didn't end on Saturday as it should have been. It went through to a Sunday. And the Sunday, they couldn't even decide on who should lead the party, because Nanado couldn't get the 50+1. Chiramantin had a sizable figure. Then the elders of the party then prevailed on Alan Chiramantin to step aside for Akufo-Addo. This is how Akufo-Addo became the leader of the party. After that, I remember myself and Francis were having breakfast in Francis' house. when we had a lot of noise they made, they have just left Lagos and they were driving down to Akufo-Addo's residence at Nima. Then I told Francis that I would like to go and see my friend and congratulate him. But before then, Francis was having reports as a security minister. Almost every second, a new report to come. Then at one stage, he said, Nyaho, your friend has won, but with a question mark. So I said, what question mark again? Then he says, he didn't win, but he couldn't get the 50+1. And Alain Chermantel has been asked to step aside. I said, okay, that's a good move. When I was leaving Francis told me something. Well, normally he calls me my brother. I said, my brother, when you go tell your friend that he's no more a clan leader, he's now a national leader. I want you to think about it. Most of you here are young people. This country was built by somebody who believed in unity, and that the person was Kwame Nkrumah. Without unity, they wouldn't have been Ghana. Nkrumah made sure that anywhere he put a school, and he did, numerous schools across the country, students will be moved from the north to the south, or the east, or the west. When I was a student, you hardly hear of a tribe a person comes from, because nobody talks about it. Not that it is prohibited though, but it's not an important issue. What do we have today? If we want to build a nation, the first thing is to think about unity. No one in this country is superior than the other. I can say, here in this hall, that I'm definitely older than most of the people here. I have seen things in this country. I have seen coup d'etats in this country. I have been part of coup d'etats in this country. And I know what I'm talking about. I have spent almost 5 years of my life in prison. We have had leaders. I am saying that at the moment, the greatest threat to our democracy is the Electoral Commission. That is the greatest threat to our democracy. And if we are not careful, they will lead this country into destruction. Mark my words. Why do I say so? How on earth can transfers be made from one particular constituency to another without the consent of the person? These are facts. During the era of General Kutu Achiampong, may he rest in peace, that was a period that myself and 4 other officers wanted to move him out of power. But whilst we were in James Fort, Usher Fort rather, he was removed by some of our colleagues in the military, headed by General Fred Akufu. Let's get one thing straight. Achampon had the opportunity. He started well. But as a soldier, he wasn't trained to handle civilians. The moment he wanted to change the khaki into a political suit, that was when the problem started with him. Achampon then decided to form what he called then union government. There are historians here, I believe. If I'm wrong, please remind me. I remember when we were on the desert, in Sinai Desert, in the Middle East, that was around 1976-77. We were then serving with a UN mission. Then we had a visit from the then Commissioner of Foreign Affairs. In those days, when they say a commissioner, that's a minister. A nice-looking gentleman by the name Colonel Roger Felly. He came with two gentlemen, Ambassador Clearand and Ambassador Sechi. These were experienced diplomats. And they came there just to do one thing, to address the troops. When we had troops, the whole battalion was moved to that place. I think they are still doing that because the time we were there, it was a bit rough. People died. Feli addressed the men, when he said the men, the fighting men. And then he addressed the officers in the mess. I remember vividly. He made mention of union government. He explained to us what it means. To my surprise, no one asked a question. So I remember I got up and I said, Roger, sir, I don't believe we were commissioned to come and rule civilians. That was not why we were commissioned. We were commissioned to fight and defend this nation. And he smiled and said, "Now, times have changed." I decided to sit down. But strange enough, when June 4th happened, most of you might have just read about June 4th. Definitely, most of you here have no idea what happened. When June 4th happened, and 5 generals were slaughtered, where they were picked and killed. Unfortunately, Roger Felly was added to them. And you ask yourself, for what reason? Let me mention the generals who died. General Utuka, Commander Amedome, General Frifa, General Achampon, General Kote, Air Vice Marshal Yaobuache, and General Akufu. They were tied to the stick and shot. First in our history. Now, all the names I mentioned, we have Greater Accra, that's Kote, Volta region, Amedume, and Utuka. Ashanti region, Afrifa, Achempon, Yabwachi. Eastern region, General Fred Akufu. No one came from the north. Listen to me carefully. No one came from the north. So Philip was brought down to correct the equation. That's why Philip died. A nice, handsome man. He was not killed because he has done anything wrong. I want you to get that straight. So when people are fooling, the argument that we have on television and radio now, where a member of a political party will come and just try to defend the indefensible, must be a concern to all of you. Now, before I go on, let me tell you one thing that happened during the era of Achampo. In those days, most of the electoral commissions were either Supreme Court judges or Appeal Court judges. Achampo had a Supreme Court judge by the name Justice Aban. Aban was a very strong person. Achampo thought he could influence him. He couldn't. We had a referendum. I was then in Osha Fort. The referendum was either no or yes. Yes for those who want the union government, no for those who like the normal political life to be run. After the elections, the electoral commissioner came out strongly and declared that the no had won. Kutu Achampon didn't understand it. So he sent soldiers after the electoral commissioner. The same electoral commission. And the electoral commissioner was a smallish man, I remember. He had to jump a wall. Oh, yes. Justice Aban was assisted to jump a wall, a fence, to save his life. And that was the beginning and the fall of General Kutu Achampo. It was then that his colleagues realized they have to get him out of power. And that was what brought the police school, headed by General F.W.K. Akufu. The reason why I gave you this basics is to let you know what we are in now. When Akufo-Addo was sworn in, his speech was full of speeches that have been made by others, plagiarism. That should have warned all of us that we are dealing with a fake. But none of us challenge him. We clap for him. Not quite long after that, when he sworn in some of his ministers, the Ministry of Trade, there was a scandal there, huge scandal, where there was a millennium something, I don't even know what it was, party or dinner, where those who got or had the opportunity to sit close to the president have to pay monies. That was another signal. It was a great signal of corruption. And indeed, the minister then, Kojo Alan Tremantin, should have resigned if we were to be in a civilized country. Alan Tremantin should have resigned. Alan have had two opportunities to leave this corrupt government, but he didn't. That was the first one. The second one was when he joined Akufo-Addo during the second round of his term. The corruption didn't stop. It continued. People were complaining. And the president said nothing. What broke the camel's back was when a minister of state, and for that matter, a cabinet minister or whatever she was seen with physical cash of millions of cedis and dollars. I mean, it is frightening. What did the president say about it? He said, and I'm not going to quote him because I really don't know exactly the quotation. But what I understood was that instead of asking the minister to resign immediately, he rather patted her on the shoulder. The young people here, there's one thing I'll say before I leave. You have to learn the culture of resignation. Because without the culture of resignation, this nation will never move forward. And let me set an example, or give you an example of a young lawyer years ago by name Kwabena Jima Usebunso. I was then a student. I wasn't even in the country, I was in Europe. Kwabena Jima was Minister of Information in the military government. That was when Nkrumah was removed. Two chief editors, one from the Graphic by name Cameron Dodu, the other one from the Ghanaian Times, I can't get the name now, were sacked just like that, without the knowledge of the minister. And listen to me carefully. So the minister, a young man then, before the Lager, decided to leave the government. So he wrote to government that he can no longer work with them. The general in charge, that is General A.A. Ankara, couldn't believe it. So he invited the minister to his office. I said, "Did you write this?" The minister said, "Yes." Mind you, he was a young man then. I said, "Can you explain it to me?" I said, "I can't be of use to you when my editors can be dismissed without my knowledge." And KG Osebunzo has gone down in history as a principled person. And let me tell you this: anyone who has no culture of resignation should not dream of getting close to political power. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I just set the ball rolling. Now the floor is open. This session is for you, actually. So if you have a question, contribution, comment to do, just raise up your hand and then we can take you out. So I saw the first one there. So what we'll do is probably we'll take three. First three, and then we take it from there. Yes, sir. First one.
Well, I want to ask that when we were in school, right from the primary school up to the tertiary, we were taught separation of powers and then also check and balances in our governance system. So I'm asking, we've had so many corruption scandals whereby at the end of the day, when we give it to the courts to continue from there, we don't hear any valid judgment or any reasonable judgment from the courts. So we are asking to understand that important personalities like Lawyer Martin Pobu said that our constitution is a joke. And I'm asking, we knew that the constitution was written by professors, people who have a strong academic background to write the constitution. So I'm asking, what is really wrong in these independent bodies, the courts, the executive and also the parliament? What is wrong that we can't fight corruption in this country? Thank you very much.
How many people have copies of the Constitution? Raise your hands. Raise your hands. And tell the truth. How many of you have the Constitution to know what you should be doing for Ghana? Because it's a two-way thing. We'll get the leaders doing the right thing, but if you don't do the right thing, you become corrupt. So that's what I wanted to contribute.
Thank you so much.
Good mine or other continents do the good mining. Because if the other countries do the good mining, why our own be different? Who is the leaders who do that galamsey? Thank you
so much. Just give it to the next one. The program to a close.
Yes. If I can address the issue about the youth and what they must be aware of as far as corruption and the impact that it is having on you now and all the way into the future. One easy way is to discuss the per capita debt. That is, how much money do you owe as you are sitting down here, just because you are Ghanaian? Not because you have stolen any money, but because of the misbehavior of other people, which has created debt for all of us Ghanaians. If we divide the debt of Ghana amongst all of us, how much do you and your children children may have to pay? Depending on the exchange rate at any particular point in time and depending on how the calculation is made. The figures are in the 20s, between 20 to 25,000 cedis per child, per person, which means that a child born today at Ridge Hospital, Kolibu Hospital, or a maternity home starts life day one owing 25,000 cedis. And that amount also, if you add interest rate to it, it will be accumulating at the interest rate 20%, 25% in perpetuity. So it's a big challenge. And if you don't personalize it in this way, so we realize that we all owe these monies. So the first order of the day, apart from the point that Dr. Nyamuta has made about prosecution, etc., is retrieving as much of the assets and the stolen monies as possible, because that should be the first amount of money that any new incoming government. So you don't want to start taxing people. We must recover the money that people have stolen first, no matter where it is, anywhere in the world. And that becomes immediately 100, 200, $3 billion that any new government can start working with. Then when we come to the mining sector, the Galamsey sector, that's where the main problem there is the illegal mining. That's Galamsey, all right, but the illegal mining in forest reserves. You know, there are many things about that is wrong in the mining sector, but mining in portions of Ghana which have been reserved since Kwame Nkrumah's time, since colonial time even, that this area we are not mining here, and this government has given authorization and licenses to people to mine inside the reserves. And the incredible fact about mining is that reserves, that because the reserves are not near any human habitation, you can't even see it or hear any noise going on. It's deep inside, 20-30 miles inside the forest reserve. You can't hear the noise of excavator or anything along the main roads. So the people are doing the Galamsey at the point you can't see. This is where Rawlins's passion, because he was an Air Force pilot, he was flying around the country a lot, and he could see things happening from the skies. And if he were here, it would have been easy for him to spot some of the illegal mining activities that were going on, because he was even concerned about just bushfires. Something as simple as bushfires. If you are flying with him and he sees a bushfire in an area, you zoom the aircraft and find out what is going on, and then radio some officers to come to the place and try to take care of it. The mindset is one thing, the soul and the spirit is another thing, and the laws are also a thing. Then, of course, moral behavior. It's a mixture of things. It's not just one solution and that will fit all.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I can associate myself with the comments of Honorable Spiogabra, and I would like to say that the difference between the type of mining we are doing here and all other countries is lack of discipline. The same Chinese who are spoiling our water bodies here, who are destroying our forests, they dare not do what they are doing in Ghana, in China. They will be killed. In China, once you go that way, you are destined for death. They will kill you. But they know. That's why I said earlier on that here they can get away with murder. They can destroy our water bodies, do anything at all, and get a pat on the back from the politicians. Didn't we hear of Aisha Wang? And what were we told? That what will we benefit if we jail her? Ghanaians are wallowing in jail. And the foreigner is, oh, let's expel her from the country. Later on, we realize she's back. Or some even say she didn't go. So that's why I keep saying, look, we can have dozens of law. Let me emphatically say, laws do not implement themselves. It's leadership. Let's not waste our time with laws. Ghana has enough laws to check the crime. Were people not jailed for causing financial loss? Have we repealed those laws? But what is happening today? Are people not causing financial losses? And what is happening to them? Nothing. So the truth of the matter is that until we get the leadership right, and you see, leadership by itself may not necessarily be very right, but we have to set the pace for them. We have to say, look, until you do this, We are not going to accept. Remember recently, I don't think it's up to 3 months, they were going to sell some hotels owned by SNIT. Is that not it? When organized labor even just signal that we will shut down the country, what didn't government do? They back off. Is that not it? So if organized labor can let government back off its plans, what happens, you think, if all of us come together? So let's not sit aloof and see the wrong being doing and think it doesn't affect us. Somebody talk about how does it affect the youth. To be honest with you, you are very pathetic. Your situation is very pathetic. If you ask my seniors over here, they'll tell you when they were in university, companies come and start offering them employment. By the time you finish university, you have a job. The Unilevers and those companies. Today, how many applications have you put on written? And who cares about your application? Until you know someone. So they are denying, it denies you the opportunity to live like a decent human being. You don't deserve the 20 Ghana cedis they are giving you. The 200 they are giving you, that's not what you deserve. You deserve a decent job. So when they come pledging that they will give you this and they will give you that, that's not, you don't deserve handouts. You need to live as a human being. That's what corruption is doing to you. Thank you.